All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Dreambound. Exciting things going on. You could have told that just from me saying it's an exciting episode of Dreambound. But in this episode, we're going on a little bit of a road trip. We are finally going to see Asher. I feel like we have talked about this for so long that it feels like we should have done this already. Oh my goodness, the preparations that we had to do in order to get to this moment have been so long, and I'm very excited to hop into this. I hope that you guys are as well, so let's go. Crow's cryptic warning weighed on Noah for much of the following morning. Noah thought of Crow's warning as he showered, dressed, and ate the breakfast that Kaine had prepared. The food Kaine cooked was, of course, delicious, but Noah could hardly taste it. He was tired, and he felt distracted, to boot. The food might as well have been cardboard for all that Noah could appreciate it. Noah turned Crow's warning in his head as he brushed his teeth, packed his bag, and as he joined Kaine in the car, once he'd finished locking up his apartment. What did he mean, things aren't as they seem? It sounds like he knows something. But if that's the case, then why wouldn't he share what he knows with me? He wasn't trying to make me paranoid, was he? I wonder how much I can really trust him. Kaine tried to draw Noah into conversation a few times, but Noah was too lost in his thoughts to properly reciprocate. 10 minutes passed, then 20, 30. Soon, an hour had gone by. The city had disappeared, but still, Noah remained stony-lipped. This did not dissuade Kaine, however, from trying to kickstart the conversation. He was nothing if not persistent. The many years he'd spent caring for Noah, when Noah had refused to care for himself, attested to as much. So, it's been a while since we've been back, hasn't it? You haven't visited since you ran away. And for good reason. I didn't think I'd be heading back myself, either. It's funny how life works sometimes. I don't know if this situation is all that funny. People are dying, Kaine. People die every day. There's nothing new there. But I know what you mean, and you ought to know what I meant, too. I didn't mean it's funny in an amusing way, I just meant it's strange where life takes you. That's all. I know that's what you meant. Noah exhaled as he stared out of the window, watching as the scenery sped by past him. He and Kaine had left the city behind them, and now they were cruising through the countryside. They were surrounded by hills on all sides, green, grassy atolls, and hedgerows. Trees. Fields. It wasn't very interesting. The sights were beautiful, sure, but Noah had seen plenty of beautiful things in his life. Things that weren't even real. I'm sorry. I think I must be feeling a little on edge. I didn't mean to snap at you. It's all right. Kaine kept his eyes focused on the road, but he smiled nonetheless, a smile which was obviously meant for Noah. People have been dying, like you said. It makes sense that you'd feel a little tense. And you are going to be seeing your delightful older brother soon. I think that'd be enough to put anybody in a bad mood. Ugh, don't remind me. Are you starting to have second thoughts? And third thoughts, and fourth ones, too? Somehow I'm not surprised. But it'll be alright. I'm here. If Asher's too much of an unbearable asshole, I'll try to put him in his place. Noah snorted. I'd like to see you try. Do you think I can't? It'll be a tall order. The only person Asher ever listened to was Reuben. But I'd rather Asher lays into you than me. If that's the way it is, I don't mind being a meat shield. I'd be more than happy to lay my life down for you, milady. Whatever. Noah rolled his eyes. You're stupid. I thought the situation called for a bit of levity. You've been looking pretty tense. Do you really blame me after everything? I guess not. No. This is a hell of a situation. You can say that again. This is a hell of a situation. Both Noah and Kaine fell quiet. The only audible sound was the rumbling of the car's ignition and the wheels on the road. Noah had nothing more to say. He hadn't slept well, and he felt anxious as a result. Crow's cryptic warning, too, continued to circle his head. But things are a little less awkward, I guess, than they were. I can always count on Kaine to cheer me up. I'd forgotten how much fun talking to him is. Probably because I didn't let myself have fun after August died. I couldn't. Kaine tried to cheer me up so many times, but I always pushed him further and further away. I wonder if that hurt. Noah pondered this mutely, his eyes still trained on the unremarkable landscape which passed by when... Huh? A buzzing sound made him turn his head. Is that? Oh, that'll be my phone. Would you mind checking it for me, Noah? Okay. You want me to... Yeah, it's probably a message from work. I told them not to email me while I was on holiday, but I guess they couldn't just help themselves. God, I'm just way too popular, huh? I've only been there for a couple of years, but I swear the office would collapse without me. Wow, how incredible. You're such a big shot. Noah rolled his eyes, and Kaine grinned. You know it. You should consider yourself lucky, really, that I deigned to take time out of my busy schedule to accompany you on this little trip. I'm really doing you a solid here. A solid I didn't ask for. You're the one who insisted, actually, that I accompany you. Come on, don't be like that. I'll be however I want, thanks. Noah took Kaine's phone off of the dashboard, then examined it. He didn't really mind helping, but... Hey, Kaine, how am I supposed to get into your phone? I don't know your PIN. Oh, I think you do. I do? Uh-huh. Kaine nodded, his fingers still curled around the wheel. Pretty easy. You should be able to guess it in a couple of attempts. I don't really feel like playing a guessing game right now. I'm too tired. Can't you just tell me? I could. Kaine smiled, his eyes bright with mischief. But where would be the fun in that? You should know better than anyone else that I don't have fun. I know only too well, but isn't that all the more reason why you should try? You never know. It might take your mind off things. That seems unlikely, but... Noah examined Kaine's phone. He frowned. What string of numbers would he have used as his PIN? Kaine had said he would know it, so it should have been something guessable to anybody who knew Kaine. Maybe it's his birthday? Noah inputted the string of numbers, but to little avail. His phone didn't unlock. Well, I guess that would have been way too easy. What about his mother's birthday then? Or his grandmother's? I know he's pretty close to them. Noah tried a few more combinations, once again, to little avail. He still couldn't get into Kaine's phone. Are you having some trouble? I'd have less of it if you just told me the number like a normal person. Whoever said I was normal? I'm sure I never made such a lofty claim. Just as well as you didn't, or you'd be a liar. Do you want me to give you a hint? Noah pondered this for a few moments, but... No, it's fine. I should be able to figure it out for myself. Are you starting to get competitive? Maybe. Is there a prize if I get it right? My eternal friendship, maybe. Thought I had that already. Noah rolled his eyes, but, as he did... Oh. A thought suddenly occurred to him. Could it be this? Seems like a bit of a stretch, but this is a number only me and Kaine would know. I don't want to give myself too much importance, but... It was with bated breath that Noah input the next sequence of numbers, 130805, which, as we all know, goes to... He didn't have any real expectations that it would work. To Noah's surprise, this was indeed the combination of numbers he needed to get into Kaine's phone. What did the numbers mean? Wow. How about that? Did you get it? I did. Yeah. I knew you would. I had every faith in you. Yeah. Noah scanned Kaine's latest text and relayed the message to him. The message, as it transpired, wasn't particularly important. Kaine said it could wait, that he'd text them back later. Noah nodded, then set Kaine's phone back on the dashboard. He reclined in his chair. Then he looked out the window, at the trees and the hedges that passed him by. Noah tried to look nonchalant, but his thoughts were worrying, and they weren't, for once, about August, Ro, or Asher. His pin. The date that we met. Wow, okay, that's very specific. I was thinking that maybe it was a birthday, but then I was like, 2005 seems a little too young, though maybe that's just me being old. The date we met. Okay. It's been years since then, but he still remembers. I can't believe it. But who am I to judge him? I can still remember it too. The 13th of August. The drive was long, taking up the majority of the day. The sun passed from one side of the sky to the other, and all Noah could do was keep looking out that window. He watched as the scenery gradually changed. Long highways through plains and fields became winding, steep mountain roads the closer they were to their hometown. He never thought he'd come home. Even if his parents died sooner rather than later, he always swore he wouldn't return. Yet, here he was, for better or for worse. They took a right turn, and a moment later, they were driving through the lazy suburban streets of Summerfield. It was like Noah had never left. Kaine took a left, and soon the car was traveling up one of the mountains that overlooked the town. And there it was, his home, next to it, August's, and across the road, Kaine's. The pair got out of the car and knocked on the door, but no one answered. Fortunately, no one had ever moved the spare key, and Noah let them in. The house looked exactly the same as Noah remembered it, so much so it was almost eerie. The entrance hall was just as it had always been, the burnished wooden floor spotless, the walls painted an inoffensive cream color. Noah's mother had done much of the interior design work around the house, and inoffensiveness seemed to have been her ambition. The rest of the house was similar to the entrance hall, sleek, modern, and bland alongside it. The living room was much like the entrance hall, the floor wooden, the walls beige. There were a few framed landscapes on the walls, but even these were inoffensive, depicting rolling hills and sandy shores. There were various knickknacks on the shelves which Noah's parents had accrued during their lives, but Noah didn't think they possessed any sentimental value. They were just expensive bits and pieces his parents had decided to put on display to showcase how frivolously wealthy they were. No real heart had been put into the interior decor. It was all hollow and empty. So, in a way, I guess this house suits my parents perfectly. I don't think they ever cared about me as a person. They didn't give a damn about my feelings. They just wanted somebody they could boast about to their friends. It must have been awful for them that I turned out to be such a disappointment. Noah's mother, he could recall, had wept for days when he stopped going to school. She had asked multiple times, why did this have to happen to me? She had never once stopped to question, however, how Noah might have felt. Everything was always about her. His house just exemplifies that. I don't think she cared about anybody else. I'm not even sure if she cared about Dad all that much. Maybe he was just another status symbol to her, too, in the end. All of a sudden, a wave of exhaustion hit Noah. He swayed on his feet, and Kaine, noticing this, rested a steadying hand on his upper arm. "Whoa there, are you alright?" "I'm alright, yeah. I just felt a little bit lightheaded. Must have been the drive. It took us a while to get here." "I think you need to sit down." Noah agreed to that second remark, but he didn't necessarily agree with the first. The drive was long, yeah, but I don't know if that's what's taken it out of me. It must be because I've come back here. This place is full of so many memories. Noah let Kaine lead him to the couch. Once there, he took a seat. "Do you feel better now?" "A little." Noah scanned the living room. It was very calm and very quiet. The house looked like it always had, but there was one crucial difference. It was empty. His parents would never again sit here, sipping tea or watching the news. They were both dead. As for Asher, meanwhile... Hey, that's a good point. Where is Asher? Wasn't he meant to be staying here? I thought he'd be here to greet me. But maybe he went out. Well, it's not such a big deal. For all I know, he could be at the funeral home. I don't know what sort of preparations you're meant to make for a funeral. I don't have a clue. I guess I could give him a text. Noah turned his thoughts over in his head for all of 2 seconds before disregarding it. No, maybe not. If he is busy, he wouldn't want me bothering him. And anyway, I don't know if I'm in the mood to talk to him right now. Noah wasn't in the mood to do much of anything. He was more tired than he'd felt in a long time. Well, at least Asher's been taking good care of the place. It looks just like I remembered. Yeah, well, I doubt he's done much cleaning. I wonder if my parents' cleaners still come around. Noah continued to glance about, memories flickering behind his eyelids. He could remember he'd spilled a glass of orange juice in here once, as a young boy. It had gone all over the carpet, and his mother had scolded him. "Noah, look what a mess you've made. Why can't you be more careful? If only you were more like Asher." This was a recurring remark Noah had been subjected to during his childhood, and later, during his adolescence. Why can't you be more like Asher? If only I knew. My life might have been easier then. You know what? What? I always hated it here. My mother used to keep an eye on me around the clock. Or at least that's what it felt like. She was always telling me that what I could and couldn't do. If she could, I bet she would have made me ask her permission before I could breathe. I never had a moment's peace with her around, and my dad wasn't much better. I felt so trapped. I'll bet. I know your parents weren't the easiest of folks to get along with, and that might be putting it lightly. But, well, it's a shame when you finally did get a chance to escape, you trapped yourself even further. Noah winced. He knew that Kaine had a point, but it's not like I wanted to become a recluse, you know. I just didn't see the point in living anymore, not without August. He was absolutely everything to me, until he wasn't. Kaine, perhaps seeing the shadow which crossed Noah's face, frowned. I'm, sorry for bringing that up. It was insensitive of me. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Oh, no. Noah answered vaguely, shaking his head as he did. There was no point getting mad at Kaine, even if that remark had been uncalled for. You're right. I dreamt about leaving this place for years and setting off on my own. But even though I escaped, it feels like part of me still stayed here. Maybe I never moved on after all. Maybe I never grew up. Maybe I stayed the same age I was when August died. It almost feels like time froze in place ever since I heard he passed away. The world kept right on turning for everyone else. but it didn't turn for me. It was like everything stopped still. Or maybe I just wanted everything to stop. It was because I couldn't stand to live in the world anymore. Not without August. Is that what he would have wanted, though? Noah yawned. His fatigue continued to weigh on him, dragging not just his body down, but his eyelids alongside it. He was so tired it was hard to keep sitting. Maybe Kaine was right. The journey must have taken it out of me. I guess I haven't been sleeping too well lately either. I've been too busy thinking about all these murders. I guess trying to solve a string of serial homicides is more tiring than you'd think. It's no wonder the detectives on TV shows always look so tired. Hey, Noah, are you alright? I'm fine. I'm just a bit sleepy. I can tell. That was a pretty big yawn. Hey. Kaine shuffled a little closer to Noah on the couch until their shoulders were brushing. Then, with a small smile, he said, "If you need to take a quick nap, you can always use me as a pillow. I don't mind." What? Why? Well, why not? I've already been your chef and your chauffeur. I might as well add being a pillow to my ever-extensive resume. I don't know if you need to add it to your resume. You're not exactly hurting for work. I know. But my job isn't the most interesting thing in the world. It's definitely not what I had my heart set on when I was younger. You wanted to be a chef. You remembered? Kaine smiled softly, touched, perhaps, at Noah's recollection. That's right. I used to help my mother out in the kitchen when I was a kid, and I guess I developed a knack for cooking. She showed me how to peel vegetables and how to fillet a fish. My dad didn't understand the appeal. He said it was just pointless busy work, but I always liked it. It was fun, spending time with my mom. It's a shame things have gotten so strained between us. Kaine's voice trailed away. Bashfully, he shook his head. Well, whatever. My life didn't pan out quite the way I wanted it, but then again, does anybody's? I think I've been pretty fortunate, all things considered. Though I'd rather be your pillow than an office worker. Sounds way more interesting. You can't be serious right now. Just how boring is your job anyway, if sitting still for hours on end is more entertaining? You don't want to know. It's pretty freaking boring, though. Wow. That makes me glad. Noah yawned. I never applied for any office jobs myself. Feel like I dodged a bullet. It took a whole bunch more, metaphorically speaking, of course, after August's death. I'm sure you'd hate it too. I know how you feel about authority. I don't feel anything in particular about authority. That's exactly what I mean. You're not cut out for sucking up to your superiors. You're way too blunt for it. Sometimes I feel like I'm not cut out for anything at all. Not for being a good son, or a good friend, or a good person in general, really. Now, you and I both know that's not true. You're a great artist, and you've always been smart, and, well, this is more for an aside, but I'm sure August thought you were a great partner, too. I don't know about that. I don't know what he ever saw in me. Whatever it was is long dead. He always looked so happy when he was with you. There's no way he was faking it. Why would he? I know being back in this town must be bringing back some bad memories. But maybe you can try and focus on that instead. There's some good too, wasn't there? Noah fell silent. His head, which felt heavy, it was crammed full of thoughts, slid to one side. He exhaled, his eyelids fluttering as he rested his cheek against Kaine's shoulder. Then, very softly, he said, "Yeah, there was some good stuff, too. I had August, even if I didn't have him for very long." Noah smiled wryly. "And I had you, too. You've always had my back." "That's right. I was there for you in the past, and I'm still here now. I'm not going to abandon you. So, don't worry. You can always rely on me. Kaine. Noah exhaled. He wasn't accustomed to being in such close proximity to other people, nor with being so vulnerable around them, not after August's death. For years, he had kept himself to himself. He had pushed away everybody who tried to help, Kaine included. He hadn't seen the point in accepting their kindness or their sympathy. It felt too much like pity. Now, however, he was beginning to wonder. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Kaine really does care. How did I not see this before? I don't know if I was a good boyfriend to August. Softly, Noah exhaled. But I was definitely a terrible friend. His eyelids, which felt leaden, fell shut. His breathing began to even out, his chest rising slowly, up and down. And then, he fell asleep. Noah's dreams were not untroubled, however. When he opened his eyes, he found himself, once again, in his parents' living room. He wasn't leaning against Kaine this time, however. Kaine was nowhere to be seen. Noah's parents were there, though, both of them staring at him from across the coffee table with dark, black eyes. Okay. Well, I guess it's not too surprising that I dream about them. I've been thinking about them non-stop since I got here. I should have expected it, really. But this doesn't bode well for the rest of my time here. Will I not be able to get any sleep? Noah's wary thoughts were soon interrupted, however, by his mother. She stared at her son, her eyes vast and staring, almost bug-like, as she said, "Noah, how could you have done this to me? How could you?" This was a line Noah was familiar with. His mother had trotted it out whenever Noah did something that displeased her. She had said the same thing when he talked about wanting to be an artist, and when she had found out about his feelings for August. Was that what she was talking about? This dead-eyed dream mother his imagination had conjured up? Was she talking about August? That wouldn't have been surprising either, but Kaine was such a nice boy. He was a good influence. He was so kind and so intelligent and so very polite. You could have learnt a lot from him. But you've tainted him. Okay, what? Noah knew it was pointless to engage with his mother. He knew she wasn't real, but the shock was so great he couldn't help but ask, "What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with us. You know what your mother means. Don't think we don't know what you've been doing. The things you've been getting up to with Kaine behind our backs. Oh, I'll never live it down. The shame is too great. How could you do this to us, Noah? How could you? All I wanted was for you to settle down with a nice woman and have a nice, normal family. But that isn't good enough for you. You keep throwing everything I've done for you back in my face. It's like you want to turn us into laughingstocks. I'm more concerned about Kaine's family. How will his father react to this? If he knew what the two of you had been doing, if he knew what you'd put Kaine up to, oh, I can't bear it. The shame is too great. As if it's not bad enough that you had to be like that. Why did you have to infect Kaine, too? Is ruining us not good enough for you? What? No, I didn't ruin anybody. I don't know what you're talking about. I never did anything to Kaine. He's just a friend. You liar. I'm not lying. Why would I about something like this? Oh boy. I don't know. Don't talk about Kaine like that. I mean, we are on Kaine's route, you know, so don't you dare talk about Kaine with that tone of voice. Kaine is a better person than any of you. He's my friend. Even if he were like me, he isn't ruined. He's perfect how he is. Talk shit about me all you want, but keep his name out of your mouth. These words forced their way from Noah's throat, seeming to scald it. His whole body trembled. His parents, meanwhile, were distorting. His mother's body seemed to stretch like a piece of taffy. Okay. His father's head sunk as though it was decaying. The lights flickered, then dimmed. And all the while, his mother wailed, "How could you do this to me? How could you? What did I do to deserve a son like you? I didn't do anything. Stop looking at me like that. Stop it. Stop it, you." Noah gasped as he awoke, like a man breaking the water's surface, his eyes wide. He couldn't recall his dream, not in its entirety. He could only remember fragments. "I think my parents were there, though. We were in this house, in this room, and they were talking to me. They said..." What did they say? Noah was busy trying to piece everything together, his head throbbing all the while, when... "Hey, Noah, are you alright?" "Oh." Noah glanced up at Kaine, feeling more than a little dazed. "That's right. Kaine came with me to my parents' place. I was feeling tired, so he said I should rest." "And did I fall asleep on his shoulder? That's kind of embarrassing." Noah drew back from Kaine, putting some much-needed space between them, then ran a hand through his hair. "I'm alright. Everything's fine." "Are you sure? You look a little, well, rattled, I guess. Did you have a bad dream?" "A bad dream? Yeah, I suppose it was. I'm back in the house I was raised in, where my parents controlled me and my older brother abused me. So what do you think?" "Good point. You're gonna sleep even worse now that we're here. That's not something I considered before we took off. Hopefully you can rest a little bit easier with me around. Sorry if that's just wishful thinking." "Thanks for coming, Kaine. I do appreciate it." "It's no problem. You know that I'd do anything for you." That was probably what Kaine meant to say, but he didn't have a chance. He was interrupted by a sound from the hallway, that of the front door opening. Somebody was there. Alright, and I think I'm going to be a little bit evil here, and I'm going to end this episode here. Normally when I end these episodes, I end it at a moment that the game sort of ends the scene, where it fades to black. This is me putting in a fade to black. The game continues on from here. We get to see who is breaking into this house, and I'm gonna be a little bit mean and make you guys wait until next episode for that. Who's your guesses? Who's about to come in? What is about to happen? Let me know. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here for now. So thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one when we see who is on the other side of that door. What's behind door number 1?